Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever stopped to think about why some countries absolutely dominate the Winter Olympics, while others are masters of sports that seem, well, completely different? Today, we're going to dig into this really cool idea that the sports we love, the games we obsess over, are actually shaped by the world right outside our door, by the ice, the sand, and everything in between. So let's kick things off with a bit of a riddle. What on earth could a pair of ice skates have in common with a hunting falcon? I know, it sounds like the start of a really weird joke, but trust me, the answer tells us something pretty profound about who we are and how we play. And that answer? It's all about geography. These two things, the skates and the falcon, were born from totally different worlds. You've got the frozen, glittering landscapes of Norway on one side, and on the other, the sweeping, sun-baked deserts of Saudi Arabia. We're talking two different worlds, which naturally led to two very different ways of having fun. And that really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. See, sports aren't just these random things we made up for fun. Long before anyone wrote down a single rule, our environment, the mountains, the deserts, the snow, was the original rule book. It kind of dictated what was even possible. So, let's take our first trip heading way up north to Norway. This is a country where the culture, the national identity, it's all been forged in the cold, the snow, and the ice. And what's just incredible is the sheer variety of sports that have come out of this. It's not just one or two things. We're talking ski jumping, speed skating, luge, biathlon, ice hockey. The list just keeps going. For Norwegians, the cold isn't something you just put up with. It's your playground. This quote just nails it. It really shows you how deep this connection goes. When you ask Norwegians about learning to ski, a lot of them will tell you they start so young that it just becomes second nature. It's as natural as learning to ride a bike or to run. It's just a part of growing up. Okay, so keeping all that in mind, I've got a little pop quiz for you. When you think about the Olympics and that absolutely grueling sport of cross-country skiing, which country do you think stands head and shoulders above everyone else? Yup, no big surprise here, it's Norway. And their dominance isn't just about having the best training facilities. It's the result of a whole culture where skiing is literally woven into the fabric of daily life, and it's all thanks to their geography. All right, now let's do a complete 180. We're going to see how this exact same idea plays out in a totally different place. We're trading the ice and snow for the sun and sand of Saudi Arabia, where a very different landscape created its own unique sporting traditions. The traditional sports here are just perfectly suited for the desert. You've got falconry, this incredible test of skill and partnership between a person and a bird. You have camel racing, which is so deeply rooted in the history of the Arabian Peninsula. And of course, you have equestrian sports, celebrating the sheer beauty and power of the famous Arabian horse. And here's the key thing to understand. For Saudi Arabia, these aren't just games or competitions. They're a really powerful connection to the past. It's a way of keeping a culture and a heritage that was shaped by the desert alive and thriving. It's like living history. So, we have sports born from ice and sports born from sand. But what about the games that seem to break all the rules of geography? You know, the ones that have spread to pretty much every corner of the planet? And that brings us to the great unifier, the big exception to the rule, football. It's such a simple game. You can play it on a pristine grass pitch, a dusty field, or a patch of asphalt. That makes it accessible to almost everyone everywhere. So what's its secret? What makes it so universal? Well, let's do a quick breakdown. First up, 11 players. It's the perfect number. It allows for some really complex strategies and amazing plays, but it's still simple enough that you can get a pickup game going in the park. Next, the time, 90 minutes. Think about it, it's the perfect length for a drama. You get a beginning, a middle, and an end, all packed into two halves of nonstop action. It's just long enough to tell a story and short enough to keep you on the edge of your seat. And finally, the goal itself. It's just so beautifully simple. Get the ball in the other team's net more times than they get it in yours. That's it. You don't need an expert to explain the rules to feel that pure, primal thrill of a goal. And that's its magic. And absolutely nothing shows off its global power like the FIFA World Cup. Every 4 years, for one solid month, the world just kinda stops to watch. It's amazing proof that even though we all have our own unique local sports, a shared passion for one simple game can bring us all together. So let's bring it all home. From the frozen ski trails of Norway to the sandy racetracks of Saudi Arabia, what's the big takeaway here? While we've seen two incredible but opposite stories, in Norway, you have sports born of ice. They're all about embracing the cold, about individual endurance against the elements. Then, in Saudi Arabia, you have sports born of sand. They're about mastering the heat and celebrating cultural tradition. Each one is a perfect mirror of its home. And when you get right down to it, that's what this is all about. The sports we play, they are so much more than just a game. They're like a map of our history, our environment, and our values. They tell the story of who we are and where we come from. Which leaves us with one last big question to chew on. In a world with a changing climate, with globalization connecting us more than ever, what's the future of our sports? As our own landscapes begin to change, how will our games, our maps of who we are, change right along with them? Something to think about.